All right, let's jump right in. Today we're tackling something that can be really tricky on the recovery journey. How in the world do you know when your higher power is actually talking to you? We're going to break down a fantastic lesson on this from therecoverystory.com. Okay, let's get into it.
It's a heck of a question, isn't it? When you're trying to get better, your mind can feel like a crowded, noisy room. You've got your own thoughts, you've got the voice of fear, you've got the voice of addiction, and somewhere in all that static is the voice of guidance. So, how do you find the right station?
And this is exactly where we get tripped up. We expect some booming voice from the heavens, an unmistakable sign. But the truth is, guidance is almost always subtle. It's a quiet whisper that gets all tangled up with our own emotions, our fears, our hopes, our anxieties. So the very first step is just learning to tell those signals apart.
So let's frame this as a story of two competing inner voices. One of them leads you towards healing, and the other one, well, it wants to drag you right back where you started. And I'm telling you, learning to tell them apart is an absolute game changer.
Now look at this. What's so powerful here is that it's all about the feeling. It has nothing to do with the words themselves. It's about the emotional quality behind them. Guidance from your higher power feels calm. It's steady. It feels safe and clear. But addiction and fear, that feels panicky, rushed, stressed, and just deeply confusing. That feeling is your first and most reliable clue. Let's just let that sink in for a second. Your higher power speaks in calm. If a thought or an impulse brings you a sense of inner peace, a feeling of stability, even if it's telling you to do something hard, you're on the right track. Calm is the signature. It's the tell. And here is the polar opposite. Fear, panic, a sense of urgency, that frantic feeling like you have to do something right this second. That is the voice of your addiction. It wants to create chaos because chaos is where it thrives. So remember this, calm is your compass. Fear is the trap.
Okay, so we've established that fundamental difference in how these voices feel. Now let's build on that. We're going to get a little more specific about what a genuine message actually looks and sounds like.
And this is so important to remember. Guidance isn't always some internal whisper. A lot of the time it comes through a friend, a sponsor, maybe even a total stranger. Your higher power can and will use anything and anyone to get a message to you. But that presents its own little challenge.
This is the ultimate litmus test for any message, whether it comes from inside your own head or from someone else. Real guidance is always about growth. It's going to push you forward. It's not here to keep you comfortable or small. And yeah, sometimes that truth is really hard to hear, but on some deep level, it will still feel right, like a key finally turning in a lock you've been stuck on.
And let's be crystal clear about the red flags. These are the absolute non-negotiables. Any voice, any thought, any impulse that tells you to hurt yourself, to relapse, to go backwards, to stay stuck, or to self-destruct is not guidance, period. End of story. That's the voice of addiction, plain and simple.
So we know what to listen for, but how do we actually listen, especially when our minds are racing a mile a minute? Well, this next part is all about the practical, hands-on tools.
First off, let's reframe what confusion means. It doesn't mean you're failing. It's actually a signal. Confusion is your mind's way of yelling, hey, there is way too much noise in here. It's a built-in alarm telling you it is time to pause, get quiet, and slow down.
And this is the process for finding that quiet. It's so simple, but man, is it powerful. First, just sit still, even for just a minute. Take a real deep breath to ground yourself in your body. Say a simple prayer. It can be as basic as help. And then you wait. You don't force it, you just wait for that feeling of calm, that settling in your spirit.
You know, your body is an incredible truth detector. It doesn't know how to lie. When you're thinking about a decision and you feel that sense of peace, maybe an openness in your chest, that's a green light. That's a big ol' yes. But if you feel that tightness, that knot in your stomach, that is your body screaming, nope, wrong way, turn back.
Here's another huge clue. True guidance is rarely a one-and-done kind of thing. If a message is important, it's going to be persistent. It's not going to yell, but it will show up again and again and again. It's a gentle, consistent nudge, so you've got to start paying attention to the patterns. And these repeating messages can come in all sorts of packages. It might be a thought that just keeps popping into your head, or hearing the same advice from 3 different people in one week. Maybe it's a line in a book that just jumps off the page at you. When you start seeing the same theme showing up across all these different channels, that's a pretty big sign to take it seriously.
Let's just hammer this home one more time because it is that important. Guidance from your higher power is simple, it's clear, it's quiet. All those other voices, addiction, anxiety, trauma, their whole game is to create confusion. They spin these long, complicated, dramatic stories. Your higher power just tells you the next right thing to do.
And this is what that simplicity looks like in action. It's not a novel, it's not a lecture. It's usually just one or two words. Stop. Go. Not here. Walk away. This is safe. It's direct, it's clean, and it gets right to the point.
Okay, we've talked about feelings, we've talked about messages from others, we've talked about practical tools, but what happens when you're still just not sure? Well, there is one final ultimate test that cuts through all the noise.
This right here is your fail-safe. When your head is spinning and you can't tell which voice is which, this one simple question acts like a spotlight in a dark room. It makes the path forward totally, completely clear.
And there it is. Does this choice help me stay sober and become a better person? That's it. It ties whatever you're facing right now directly to your ultimate goals, staying sober and growing as a human being. And the beautiful thing about this question is that the answer is black and white. There's no gray area. If the answer is a clear, solid yes, then that's it. You've got your guidance. If the answer is no, or even a hesitant, maybe, then it's not. It really is that simple. And we're going to end on this powerful, reassuring idea. The whole point of guidance is to lead you toward healing. Your higher power has zero interest in chaos, drama, or needless pain. The right path might be challenging, sure, but its destination is always peace. It's always wholeness. So the only real question left is, which voice are you going to listen to today?